Good evening and welcome to California Today. I'm Daniel Hall. Let's take a look at today's stories. California is proposing to allow minors 12 and older to get the COVID-19 vaccine without parental consent. Governor Newsom continues to call for students to return in class. The most recent statewide test scores took a drop. A state senator is proposing to allow children 12 and over to get vaccinated without their parents' consent. Some parents say that this is the government overriding parents' authority.
Senator Scott Wiener introduced a bill to allow teens ages 12 to 17 to receive the COVID-19 vaccine without parental consent.
This will empower our youth. We know that currently in California, nearly 1 million 12 to 17-year-olds are not vaccinated for COVID-19.
Senate Bill 866, also known as the Teens Choose Vaccines Act, was introduced on Thursday. If passed, it would allow minors 12 and older to receive a dose without their parents' permission, as long as the vaccine is approved by the FDA.
On average, COVID is less likely to be serious, create serious illness for teenagers. Teens do get sick. There are teens in the hospital, teens on ventilators, and tragically, teens who die.
According to the state's statistics, the 0 to 17 age group accounts for 0.1% of COVID deaths. Wiener argues this bill builds on existing law that already allows kids 12 and older to consent to receiving the hepatitis B vaccine, birth control, and abortions. The San Mateo senator received a mix of responses on Twitter.
The single biggest reason is most children don't make decisions that adults would make. So informed consent is the biggest single issue that I see. And children don't have the capacity to make that.
So I just think it's overreach. It's unnecessary. Parents can make informed decisions for their children. We know their background, their history, their risk profile, etc. We care more about our kids than the state does. I don't care what they say. They're not as invested in our children as we are.
Another parent tells NTD he thinks legislation that chips away at the ability of a parent would be a huge mistake. There should be a very high standard for overriding a parent or lawful guardian's authority, and only under the imminent or persistent and grave threat to the child's well-being. He says there are already established public school vaccination constructs, child protective services, and the courts to deal with those situations, so there is no need to give minors authority over these decisions.
Governor Gavin Newsom is calling for students to return to in-class learning at their schools. His change in stance comes after a drop in standardized test scores last year. NTD's David Lamb reports.
California Governor Gavin Newsom and several leaders reportedly want to keep school classrooms open. His call comes after forcing schools to shut down during the COVID-19 or CCP virus pandemic. Newsom said it's critical top priority to keep the schools open, Politico reported. Newsom cited the challenges of going online and the lost learning opportunities from not being in school. A majority of California school districts are open to either in-person learning or hybrid learning. Several districts remain as online-only learning. For a span of 5 years, standardized test scores have gradually increased in California until last year. Last year's results showed a roughly 49% passing rate of the English testing portion and less than 34% passing the math portion. According to U.S. News, California ranks 40th in the United States for K-12 schooling. David Lamb, NTD News, California.
December's storms provided some much-needed water for the state. Officials say they will allocate more water than initially planned from state water storage to local agencies, but they also stressed that the drought is far from over.
In a Thursday announcement, the Department of Water Resources says it plans to give water districts 15% of what they requested for 2022. This is up from last month, when the state said it would supply 0% of requested water beyond the necessary amount for drinking and bathing. That was the first time the state issued a water allocation of 0%. The December storms dumped 160% of the snow and water it normally does at that time of year in the Sierra Mountains, partially refilling some reservoirs and providing some relief. However, the state has not yet seen a major storm this month, and most state reservoirs remain below their historic averages. The U.S. Drought Monitor shows much of California remains in moderate to severe drought. State officials urge residents to keep conserving water. Department of Water Resources Director said in a statement, dry conditions have already returned in January. Californians must continue to conserve as the state plans for a third dry year. The state water contractors urged for more investments in improving hydrology and the state water project's infrastructure. The state water project is a network of reservoirs, dams, and canals that California uses to store and transport water across the state. Meanwhile, the statewide emergency restrictions on outdoor water use took effect Tuesday. It includes a ban on watering lawns for 24 hours after rain. Last year, Governor Gavin Newsom asked people to voluntarily cut water usage by 15%. But according to the Public Policy Institute of California, residential water use only makes up 10% of the state's entire water usage.
Earlier this week, the Biden administration announced the distribution of free at-home COVID test kits through USPS. Now, Santa Clara County is offering additional sets of free at-home antigen tests for people to pick up at locations throughout the county.
60,000 at-home antigen tests will be available for direct distribution through 4 drive-up sites over the next week. We will be booking appointments for these drive-up sites at sccfreetest.org, the same way that we already book appointments for the county testing program.
Beginning this Saturday, people who live, work, or attend school in Santa Clara County can pick up, through appointment only, 4 iHealth COVID-19 antigen rapid tests. Upon scheduling, individuals will be assigned a unique QR code to present at the site to receive the test kits. County officials said at-home antigen tests can be used to reduce quarantine period for those who have tested positive or been exposed to someone with COVID-19. Officials say they opted to purchase and distribute the test kits due to the current limited availability and continued enormous demand from the community. The county expects over 15,000 appointments to be scheduled in the next week. Officials will assess whether the program should be expanded based on need and availability of tests. A company in Menlo Park has developed a model to be able to process PCR COVID tests with results in a few hours. They are currently doing the most tests by volume in California. NTD's Jason Blair has more.
A lab in Menlo Park is processing around 100,000 COVID tests a day, which is currently the highest amount by volume in California. Twice a day, a small airplane lands in Palo Alto containing thousands of swabbed samples from students, teachers, and staff at Los Angeles Unified School District, which is the second largest school district in the U.S.
We started the company really with the vision of helping schools because we saw that as the foundation for communities to get back to normal. Kids had to be back in school for parents to go back to work.
The samples are then driven to Summer Bio nearby in Menlo Park. Summer Bio launched in May 2020, shortly after the start of the pandemic. They say the current Omicron variant has resulted in the lab running at near capacity. They say it's the busiest they've been since August, when the Delta variant was peaking. Despite the federal government's recent efforts to get more quick resulted antigen tests sent to the public, Summer Bio says the polymerase chain reaction tests they conduct are necessary for many schools and businesses, as PCR tests are considered to be more accurate with quicker results.
So that sample tube that we collect in the field goes nearly straight from the field into our automation instead of a bunch of handling manipulation by the lab staff. We're able to just take them in from the field and drop it into the automation.
PCR testing usually takes a day or two to get results back, but Summer Bio says thanks to a fully automated process they developed that's running 24 hours a day, they're able to get results back in just a few hours. The co-founders said they hope their automated process will become a business model for similar labs nationwide. Jason Blair, NTD News, California.
On Thursday, Governor Newsom visited an area covered in undelivered packages. There, in East Los Angeles, thousands of unopened and damaged parcels sprawl out over railway tracks. NTD's Andrew Thomas has more.
Video taken of the debris went viral worldwide. Much of the footage was from drone shots, which showed the extent of the looting. Newsom spoke to reporters gathered by the train track.
I see what you see, I see what you've been covering, I see what everybody's seen, and asking myself, what the hell is going on? I mean, look like a third world country, these images, the drone images that were on the nightly news, day in and day out. Some networks weaponizing them for their own, political agenda, and others just reporting the damn news, fairly and appropriately.
Newsom held a press briefing alongside members of representatives from Railroad Hauling Company Union Pacific and the Los Angeles County Supervisor, Hilda Solis, as well as a number of federal agents.
And then the question you're going to ask is the question I'm asking, trust me, to every single person behind me. How do we make sure we don't have to keep coming back? How do we secure this site? How do we do a better job in making sure that this doesn't have to continue to happen?
Transport crews will continue cleanup efforts in the area in the coming days, while California Highway Patrol will coordinate with law enforcement to help prevent theft on the railways. Newsom said 280 people have been arrested, and more are being pursued. He said investigators are targeting the fencing operations that sell the goods. Authorities said thieves have hit cargo containers aboard trains for months. The stolen packages are from retailers including Amazon, REI, and others. Andrew Thomas, NTD News.
Elon Musk's brain implant company Neuralink is now hiring a clinical trial director. The company may be nearing human clinical trials after showing successful implant usage in a monkey last year.
Elon Musk's brain implant company Neuralink is hiring a clinical trial director. The Fremont, California-based company posted a job listing searching for someone with understanding of the clinical trial process from beginning to end. The listing includes handling critical FDA interactions and knowledge of FDA regulations. The company's webpage says, "We are creating the future of brain interfaces, building devices now that will help people with paralysis." Late August, Neuralink showed footage of a monkey playing the video game Pong using only its mind along with their implant. In December, Musk told Wall Street that he predicts to implant Neuralink's device in human brains sometime in 2022. But Bloomberg reported Musk's prediction as overly optimistic, since he made a similar statement in 2019 that the device would be in human skulls by the following year. Neuralink has not publicly announced if it is conducting human trials yet.
Now to NTD's Thomas Christian for an update in the world of sports.
I'm Thomas Christian, taking you through the California Today Sports Roundup. Kiefer Sykes, getting an extended opportunity with Indiana's starting backcourt out of action, contributed 5 points to a 10-0 burst in overtime that allowed the shorthanded Pacers to shock the Golden State Warriors 121-117 on Thursday night in San Francisco. After a Justin Holiday three-pointer with 6 seconds remaining in regulation, forcing the extra session, the Pacers prevailed despite the absence of regular starters Domantas Sabonis, Malcolm Brogdon, Karis LeVert, and Miles Turner. Rookie Chris Duarte had a team-high 27 points for Indiana, which had 7 players scoring double figures. Stephen Curry produced 39 points and 8 for the Warriors. He shot 6 of 16 on three-point attempts, but his teammates combined for just 3 of 26 from long distance. Pacers 121, Warriors 117. Darcy Kemper had 40 saves and Mikko Rantanen had a goal and an assist as visiting Colorado beat Los Angeles to win for their 5th straight game. Kiefer Sherwood, Nicholas Obkubel, and Devin Toews also scored. Nathan McKinnon had 2 assists to help Colorado win on back-to-back nights in Southern California. The Avalanche have won 10 of their last 11. Anze Kopitar scored and Jonathan Quick stopped 23 shots for the Kings, who play without leading scorer Adrian Kempe. Avalanche 4, Kings 1. Defenseman Carson Soucy scored twice as Seattle overcame an early deficit to defeat visiting San Jose. Cal Yarncroc also tallied and Philip Graubrauer made 23 saves for the Kraken, who won their 2nd in a row following a 9-game losing streak. Seattle's Mark Giordano recorded 2 assists. Tomas Hertl had a goal and an assist, and Timo Meier also scored. Adin Hill stopped 14 of 17 shots for the Sharks. Kraken 3, Sharks 2. 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo officially does not have an injury designation heading into the divisional round game against Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers Saturday. Garoppolo has dealt with a fractured and sprained thumb for the past 3 weeks, injuring it against the Tennessee Titans. He sat out 1 game before playing through the injury for the past 2 weeks, both games ending in a win. The 49ers look to return to the Super Bowl after getting there in 2020. Jimmy Garoppolo got them there once, and we will find out if he can get it done again. As always, I'm Thomas Christian, and thanks for tuning in.
And that's all for tonight. You can join us again on California Today every weekday at 8 p.m. If you have any news tips or ideas for our show, feel free to let us know. You can also find us on Twitter and Facebook. I'm Daniel Hall. Have a wonderful evening.